This a good angle? Or hate that fucking song. Man, setting up actually takes a lot of time. You gotta figure out the right angle. Ooh. Got a new job. I don't even know what it was. Initially, it was just like, hey, you want to come on board, help and see, you know, if you can, you know, make use of yourself or something like that. Long story short, joined that. I did learn new skills, but at the same time I also learned about myself, you know, like how I would see myself in a job role or in a position or this and that. The first one was so nice. I was just so happy. I was like, oh my god, all my prayers answered. All I wanted to do was, you know, just to work and apply myself and this and that. And then the second month came along and it was so different than what I could have imagined. You know, even the work, I just did not know what I was getting myself into. Everyone's waiting for me in a different room, so I'll be really precise. Anyway, it was really fun. Learned a lot of new things. So many of my prayers were answered, where I wanted to work with another person, where I really wanted to be really contributive and this and that. And my sister's telling me all these things that I've told my relatives that you're coming, and if you don't come, they'll know all that shit. Fuck, I have to go. But I was really scared. I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? You know, like, can I make, like, I did not want to just be getting paid for showing up there. I always want to like over deliver, you know, give so much more than one can even imagine. Like, I think that's me. And that's what I would feel really proud of. So the first thing I told myself, and I was so like happy and excited about it, was be humble yet courageous. I felt like my attitude and everything that I had in my head, like my attitude towards my work, since it was my first job, is really, really important. How I would feel about it, that's how I would deliver and, you know, reflect or whatever. You know, if I felt like, oh my god, I'm too good for this, that would have been my attitude. And I would be careless and this and that. Or if I felt like I know nothing, you know, oh my god, I'm just like this small thing and entering into the big world, that would have been bad. So exactly how I was seeing myself and how I was seeing my job, I felt was really important. And I told myself that I know that I'm competent and I know everything, at the same time I don't know anything. I don't know if that makes sense. That's how I went with, you know. And that's why the attitude was be humble yet courageous. That be ready to learn, you know, be quiet, don't talk too much, you know, give the other person their space, work quietly and work diligently and work sincerely. You know, these were the words that were in my head. But at the same time, be confident and be courageous and know who you are. So I think just that balance of being humble yet being courageous, does that I think that is, I just wanted to hit that perfect balance in my mind, in my perspective, and how I was going to deliver. And I was really proud of myself on how I did it. It's so weird, I'm giving feedback to myself, but I really do like reflect deeply on how I'm, you know, kind of doing everything. So that's how that went. And then the second month, it wasn't good. I was really overwhelmed by just a lot of worries and this and that. Because when you're working for like a stranger or a company or an organization like that, when it's really big, you're not really connected with your boss. They're just employees, and then maybe you're not like the boss, like as in like the owner of the company or the CEO. You're connected with like your seniors and this and that. That's a really different culture versus a startup culture. You know, everyone's on one table. There are 4 people. One's the CEO, one's you, one's another teammate. So it's really difficult to communicate, you know, when you have problems about like your pay or you have issues about anything, you can talk to your HR. But when there's just 3 of you, who are you going to talk to? And also when it's a friend. So I had to learn a lot of things and understand what are my boundaries and what are their boundaries, and then crazy things. So there were a lot of good things, there were a lot of bad things as well. I'm just glad that I got that experience. And I'm so happy now I got this break, because I was working like crazy. And for a person who, I did not have a job before, you know, like when you have a school or college, you have a really hectic schedule versus when you're on your own and you're just working towards different things. That's a really different schedule, you know, when you're like just by yourself doing your own thing versus you're like on like someone else's schedule. It's very different. So for me, time management became a big issue, but I did not know how, like, who am I? I was constantly in the persona of an employee or that's at least how I want it to be. You know, I just want to give everything. Like, I'll give you my life. You know, that's how I function, and that's what I feel satisfied with. So no complaints over that. But for the first time, I could understand why people would talk so much about the work-life balance. And I think this vacation has been really good for me. So one of the most important things I wanted to talk about was I was just learning the importance of balance. And first of all, the balance between being humble and courageous was balance one. Second balance was taking a stand for yourself versus tolerance. You know, what am I going to tolerate? What I must tolerate versus where I take a stand for myself. And that's something I really struggle with. I'm more inclined towards just tolerating everything. And I think I just really want to learn that really, really important skill for my own self. And I was taking a lot of advice from my friends, and everyone was just so amazing and so supportive. And I thought that these were such valuable lessons, you know, as a human being. And I fell in love with them. I actually read them somewhere, and when I was applying them, I actually like lived them. So I understand it more deeply than just being fancy words, being humble and courageous. But I got it. You know, even I would constantly learn the definition of the word diligent and sincere, because that's who I want to be. And these times I actually got the opportunity to live it. That's why I was so excited for my work, because I would always learn about being diligent towards your work. But when you don't have your work, what are you diligent towards? But now I had an opportunity to apply myself, to apply everything I've learned. And that's all I wanted to do, and I got the chance to do that. So it was really good. And I got so much more confident on who I am, what I'm about, and how I operate, and how I function, how I deliver. Instead of like it just being mere theory, I could see myself in action. And that's why work is so important. I see where I lack, and I see things I'm really great at. And it does not have to be like a skill, like I'm really good at photography. No, it was a skill that I learned, like irrespective of whether I know it, whether I don't, I will get the job done. So if I want to learn this one skill, I'm going to educate myself thoroughly. You know, whether it's through YouTube videos, asking other people, like, you know, self-teaching yourself or whatever, and I'll deliver on that task, irrespective of what it is. I can fill so many different roles, because that's just how much I care about work. Like, I don't know why I put a lot of importance on it. Like, this time I just felt like that feeling is so amazing when you just feel like, I don't know if that makes sense, but you're exactly who you think you are. You know, so many times you think like, oh my god, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this, but when time actually comes to shove, when it's like, you know, showtime, you know, you kind of succumb or something like that happens. But once you deliver exactly the way you think you would in a situation, I think that is so satisfying and so cool. So I think these really important lessons I learned about work, and I feel like anyone, that's how you should contemplate when you're going to work. Like, your attitude is so important. It could really be a game changer, and it does not matter what you know and what you don't know. Your attitude is important on how you look at things, and you know, you're willing to work and you care about the work that you're doing. And even if you don't, do you respect your work enough, you know, since you've given your commitment. So even if I'm not like about what I'm doing right now, you know, like totally, I give myself a time gap, you know, okay, we're doing, so it's like it was initially a 15-day thing, like we'll see what happens in 15 days, and it was spread throughout the month. And now it became a 45-day thing, which is spread throughout it just spread throughout 3 months. So since I've given myself a commitment to myself that I am going to perform for 3 months, which is 45 days, irrespective whether I like what I'm doing all the time or when I don't like it, I am going to deliver on it in a way where I'll have no regrets after I leave it. And there were a couple of small issues about feeling, oh, I'm underpaid and this and that. Just my perspective on it. Maybe that's not how it is, or maybe that's how it is. Came across this amazing video from Gary, which I was so excited. I love him, that's why I love him. Where he spoke about exactly what I needed to hear, which was leaving money on the table is always good. Which meant, you know, anytime you feel like, oh, you know, I need to get paid so much, or oh my god, I'm leaving so much money on the table by not asking, or this and that, when you're in an uncomfortable situation. He spoke about legacy versus leaving money on the table, and you always want to go for legacy. And that made a lot of sense to me, you know. Or extra couple $1,000 is not going to make any difference to me, though it would have been nice, but it won't make a difference. And money is not even though it's so important and it's a major driving factor when you're working, you know, when things get tough, you're like, at least I'm fucking getting paid for this shit, you know. But at the same time, you always have to remind yourself where money is important and where it's not, you know, where you gotta ask and where you don't, and when you, not even where, it's mostly when. I started feeling good about myself, you know. Sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm not getting paid and I'm doing so much, am I getting walked over? No, you're not. You need to remember your intent. There's so many positive things happening for you and you're getting so much like in return, even though it might not be something monetary, like here's an extra, you know, couple of $1,000 for your performance. But you literally learn how to be diligent, how to be sincere, how to be meticulous, how to be disciplined. The more you're working, the more you're training. I just saw all of it as training. Anything that I was unhappy about, I said it's training. Anytime I was treated badly, and this is not a bad job, it's fucking great, okay, but I'm saying anytime something even slightly negative would happen, I would be thrown off. I would be like, fuck this shit, I hate this shit, and not sign up for this. But that's not how the world is, you know. So many times things will happen, and that's where tolerance comes into place. And at the same time, your perspective is so important. So anytime something happens which I was not happy about, I would look at it as training. This is precisely why. This was a poem where I read, when you're just really faced with a great hardship, and how you look at it is the whole game. So that's why it said, you know, anything the bad happens to you, bad as in like something difficult, something hard, something unpleasant, if you look at it as, this is precisely why. Like everything that's happening to you is for your training. Everything that's happening to you is a benefit. Even something negative happens, you learn something out of it. Even though it's too optimistic, but if you look at it things that way, I mean, it really like just puts your mind at such ease and you feel so much better and good about yourself. Because something that I majorly experienced this time was anxiety. I was fucked. It was so crazy. I could not sleep at night. That's why my mindset and getting myself in check was so important. And I love my friends. They kept me in check so many times, you know, my family. But at the end of the day, I was the one who had to listen to them. So no matter how great advice you get, if you don't listen to it, it's not going to be of any use, you know. In the moment, it might feel right, you know, your friend might talk to you for like 30 minutes and you're like, oh, you know, thank you for being there for me. But when time comes to shove, the next day you're at work, some shit happens and you can't remember it. Was it of any use, you know? So I think that's what I want to talk about. I learned a lot of like valuable stuff, and I hope I was precise. I'll try to chop up this video and make it like really exact. And I'm recording vlogs since I'm here, like a lot of good footage, and I'll do an update again soon. But about work, this was really important to me. I felt like this was life-changing lessons for me, and I wanted to share that. And now I gotta go because my sister's calling me. My relatives want to see us. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I want to talk about so much more, but we'll do another vlog soon. Okay, bye.